Good morning and welcome to the Community Culture, Arts and Sports Committee number 3 for 2022. We have a leave of absence today from Councillor Jonick, and I'd just like to move that. Do I have a seconder? All those in favour? That's unanimous and carried here. And all other councillors are in attendance. Councillor Konzelman, would you like to lead us in the acknowledgement of country this morning?
Thank you, Chair. Today this committee recognises the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet. We support their right to democratic representation and social inclusion. Ipswich City Council acknowledges the ongoing challenges faced by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and this committee supports their inclusion and participation in community, cultural, arts and sports activities.
Thank you, Councillor. Moving on to item number 1, which is the confirmation of minutes, and the recommendation here is that the minutes of the CCAS committee held on the 10th of March be confirmed. I'll move those. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Konzelman. Any discussion on those or corrections? And I'll take that straight to the vote. All those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Item number 2 today is Redbank Plains Community Centre Social Impact 36-month Study Report. Would anyone like to speak to the Council Officer? Thank you, Ms. Dower.
Good morning, everyone. Melissa Dower, and I'm the Community Development Manager.
Who's up first? Councillor Konzelman.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report on the Redbank Plains Community Centre. Just looking at community centres generally, how do they fit into the community development strategy? What do they do for us?
They do a lot. Some people recognise community centres as the heart of a community. We're actually very blessed to have 12 community centres across our city, including Redbank Plains. Community centres not only offer a range of services to reduce loneliness, social isolation, they play a critical role, which we've noted, within natural disasters. As a council, when we adopted our community development strategy, you'll note throughout it we do recognise community centres. We have a community development officer that has a focus to work with the community centres to build their capability and work with them, not for them. The community centres are critical. We're also working, Councillor, on the citywide resilience program to work with them to build that resilience and capability. So they definitely are the heart of our community when it comes to the community services sector.
So in relation to disaster, and resilience, we're encouraging community centres to think about a specific role in disaster management?
Most definitely. And I'd note that community recovery are also moving forward. Community centres across the state of Queensland do activate during disasters quite often, predominantly in the rural and regional areas where they do play that active role. An example is the Springfield Community Centre during the storm event, who stepped up to play that role. We're working with them to build a holistic approach to how we can support the community in natural disasters. So that's with the citywide resilience program. We hope to have a framework in 6 to 12 months and, to offer them the support and work with them so we can really represent the community.
If I may, through the chair, hello, Ms. Dower. Thank you for this report. It was actually really good reading, especially some of the trends over the years. That was very interesting. I know on page 55 where it has next steps and recommendations, there are 2 recommendations there. One is awareness and one is about local challenges. I guess I look at page 36 and 37 of the report where there are a list of community strengths as well as community challenges. Am I to take it that point number 2 there you will be incorporating all those challenges as well as strengths in that? I would have thought there would be more recommendations out of the report. So where to from here?
Yeah, yep, definitely. I just wanted to acknowledge as well that yesterday the Neighbourhood Centres Queensland, which is the peak body, they've also been working on a social impact report. So the recommendations that actually come from their report will help inform our moving forward as well, which is it's fantastic that we've worked beside each other within that report. Where to from here? We will continue, Mayor, to work with the community centres. Within the community centres of practice that I acknowledged before, the work of the social impact reports will actually reach out to those other community centres. At the moment, we're working with the community centre as well as QPS, as well as the schools, to identify some of those weaknesses and challenges, in particular the youth engagement, the transport and the crime. So moving forward, I hope to have some solutions which are community-led to address some of those, and we'll continue to work with the centres. Sorry, did I answer that question?
Yes, thank you, Ms Dowell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I just acknowledge that across Queensland there's 1.6 million people who attended a community centre in the last 12 months, which I think is a really a cool statistic. And there's 143 community centres across Queensland, and 33% of those are in a council asset. Just on that note. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Dowell. So the recommendation here is that the report be noted by council. I'll move that. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Kunzelman. Open that for any discussion.
For my chair, I found this to be a really good report, especially as I said the trending on page 33. For instance, in valuing diversity, the question was, is it a good thing for our community to be made up of people from different cultures? Back in 2018, that response rate of strongly disagree was nearly 17%, which is a large number. And now it's quite negligible. I mean, we still need to work on it, but it's, obviously 2 or 3% or something like that. So good to see perceptions like that change in our community. And I do note that one of the community challenges, the community strengths and challenge, I think are the guts of the report for us moving forward. I do note too that even in community challenges, that odour pollution is one of those listed there, which is very much front and centre for our community at the moment.
Yeah, and I think it's worth acknowledging that the recommendations and next steps of this report, council in so many ways addressing in the periphery. I mean, we've got our resilience building program, the new community development strategy has us, focusing a resource on community centres, which is really important. So, at the end of this report where it says next steps and recommendations, well, the very next, tomorrow we'll have someone out in community centres doing that good work that we're doing. So it's not just let's solve these, 2 problems here that we've identified from the report. It's the ongoing, investment from this council to say that we care about our community, we care about our community centres, and that work will continue. Yeah. So I look forward to, and I'm sure that this committee will receive reports on all of the programs that council is running that will assist, improve the resilience and capacity and capability of all of our community centres across Ipswich. I think that we're at the start of something really brilliant here. The community development strategy has been, adopted with open arms by the wider community. Yes, they're acknowledging that there's lots of work that needs to be done and there's not enough money to do all of the wonderful things that we wish we could do. But it's really important to know that this council does support our community and our community centres, and we're not afraid of, tackling a problem head on. I think that Councillor Ireland will take particular interest in this report come Council Ordinary in a couple of weeks' time, but it just gives us another platform for advocacy. A big outcome or, a big theme that ran through this entire document was that there is, almost a complete lack of public transport for so many, in our community out in Redbank Plains. And we've heard from Councillor Madsen and we've heard from Councillor Ireland, that's something that they want to champion. We've recently, had a report come to us that highlights, how horrible access to public transport is, particularly in the suburb of Redbank Plains. I think it's up to us as leaders in the community to, I guess, take our own challenge from this report and think about how we can advocate in a big way. Do we need to be writing letters to ministers? Do we need to be doing that grassroots advocacy? Do we need to come in and offer our political advocacy for the people who live in these suburbs? I know that every time Councillor Doyle and I are out at our community pop-ups, it's kind of a running theme out there as well. People want better access to public transport. We know the struggles of the existing network. I mean, all of these things that we do in council are very connected. You know, we struggle with more cars on roads, but we need more people to catch public transport to alleviate some of that, but we don't have good access to public transport. You know, there's a huge missing piece here, and I think that, you know, this committee probably needs to start addressing some of those problems from a political angle and writing and just testing the waters to see how we can better serve our community in that way.
That's right, Chair. And I guess I look at the Redbank Plains Community Centre is such a great place. It's got the most amazing vibe when you're there. We've got great people in the community. And I just thought it was really interesting in looking at, like on page 43, over 25% of the reasons for visit, over 25% was midwifery clinics. I mean, this is this fast-growing suburb with young families. It's a really good report, and I think it'll really help us in going forward.
Councillor Madsen.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to seize on that comment about being a fast-growing suburb. It's also the biggest suburb in Ipswich, so I would suggest that perhaps more community centres are required in Redbank Plains, given the substantive nature of population being a key variable. You know, I'm waiting for the new census to come out this year, and I'm hopeful of what that looks at. But Redbank Plains will be home to 30,000 people within 5 to 10 years, which is substantially large. So while I support the community centre, I think Gerald and Multicultural Australia do a good job. It's worth remembering that significant community facilities are required in an area like that with such a dense population.
With no further discussion, we'll take that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous and carried. Moving on to item number 3, Creative Industries Action Plan, an addendum to the Arts and Cultural Strategy. Would anyone like to speak to the relevant council officer? Yeah, Ms. Matson, thank you.
Good morning, Chair and Councillors. Kat Matson, Manager of Economic and Community Development.
So this council came in and a big priority for us was improving our engagement with, you know, our arts and cultural communities across the Ipswich LGA. Why is this addendum really important for restating our position as a new council?
Thank you, Chair. This addendum for me tangibilises the commitments that the previous strategy made, but also makes really clear the action that we're going to take to realise the vision that's outlined in the Arts and Cultural Strategy, which takes us up to 2023, but it actually gives us a really clear checklist. What are we doing? How are we delivering on that vision? And how are we engaging across all of the pillars of the strategy?
And I guess one of the key action items here and something that our community is very interested about, and I don't know if you're able to offer any insights for us at this early stage, but there's lots in our community that are very keen to understand what the summit will look like this year.
I feel like, how do I say that it's going to be amazing without telling you what's on the agenda? We are literally today finalising the date for this year's Creators of Ipswich Summit. We've had to push it back due to COVID impacts, due to flood impacts, but we are very excited about the program that's coming together. And distinct to the last Creators of Ipswich Summit, this summit will very much focus on what we've been asked for. Capability building, networking opportunities, capacity building, the opportunities to better understand how to create a business out of one's art practice, as well as how to just further one's art and creative practice. So we're very excited. Stay tuned.
Sounds good. Thank you. No further questions.
Fabulous.
So once again, the recommendation here is that the action plan be endorsed by council. Do I have a mover for that one? Thank you, Councillor Kunzelman, and seconded by the Mayor. I'll open that for discussion. Mayor?
If I may, Chair, really pleased with this. I've always said that the creative industries strategy that was set by the previous council was always very sound. And I think when I speak with the creative community, they're very happy with it. There was a lot of consultation with that. Where it lacked was that action plan and funding. So very pleased with the fact that we're a council that is implementing real action and actually funding things. And I know the attachment 3, which is the Creators of Ipswich report by Dr. Ashley Jones and Margaret Power. It was read out and given to the Creators of Ipswich at the last summit, and that was really well received. I think people really liked to read that, so it's great that that's published now and people can see that as well. So yeah, I'll be voting in favour of this recommendation, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Kunzelman?
Thank you, Chair. I support this project. This is the action plan to go with the strategy that we've previously agreed. Excuse me. This has been development through consultation with community and is the fulfilment of our commitment to the arts community. This action plan is inclusive of all forms of art expression, covers all the areas of local government and all ages. It recognises the origins of diverse people and promotes the diversity of expression that brings vitality to our city, contributes to the economy and will accommodate our growth.
Well said, Councillor Kunzelman. Thank you. That being said, we'll take that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous and carried. And in fact, our last item, so I would like to close the meeting this morning at 10:50 and we'll be back at 11 for the next committee.